Om Shanti. This video is going to elaborate on why Hindu temples have goddess statues dressed very glamorously. You can find glamorously dressed female deities at the top of Hindu temples. Uh, and people tend to misinterpret this into believing that Hinduism is closely linked with sex, but that is not the actual case. It is only through Brahma Kumaris God himself reveals the actual truth that is hidden in those statues. Uh, Usually in those temples, if you take a closer look, uh, you will not only see the half-dressed male and female deities, but also you will see a very beautifully dressed, fully dressed, uh, fully decorated deities. In between those uh, glamorously dressed female or male deities. So in the center there will always be a fully dressed deity like Lakshmi or Durga or Sri Vishnu or Sri Rama or whoever. But and they will usually if it is a male deity, they will usually be accompanied with fully dressed female deity, and they will also be beautifully dressed, and they'll be decorated with beautiful jewels, and only in the two corners on both sides of them you can find half-dressed male or female deities. It doesn't represent sex as most of us believe. It is not so. Um, the spiritual secret hidden in this statue can be interpreted if you are aware of the basic knowledge given by God, who is named Shiva, Allah, or Heavenly Father by these three religions. So this God reveals the actual spiritual truth hidden in these temples through Brahma Kumaris. He says uh, there is an indefinite time cycle that consists of 5000 years, which is called one kalpa. So whatever happens in one kalpa, it just repeats kalpa after kalpa, which means I'm actually doing this video at this moment, so it means I also did the same video 5000 years back at this very moment. So I'd be doing the same kalpa after kalpa at this very point of time. So that's the significance of kalpa. And in the first half of kalpa, that is the first 2500 years, we would be living as the deities on this earth. So when we were deities, this earth, especially India, will be heaven. And in the next 2500 years, after taking several rebirths, we will be living as human beings, and when we are human beings, the whole world becomes hell. So we are actually living in hell, and God comes in the last 100 years to give this knowledge to, and then to take us from hell to heaven, that is to convert human beings back to divine beings. So this cycle repeats. So what he basically teaches that makes us that converts human beings into divine beings is the soul consciousness. He says that we recognize ourselves as this human body, and because of that we become slaves of our senses, and that is why we suffer pain. But in the first 2500 years we would be recognizing ourselves as the soul that controls all these senses and that controls this human body, and we'll be living um, in mind totally separate from this body. We won't consider ourselves as this body, so we will be experiencing only pleasure, and we will not even be aware of anything called pain or suffering. So that is how he creates heaven. So he says we shine like a tiny star in between our forehead, and that is why Hindus wear religious symbols like bindi and all other religious symbols in between our forehead. But it is not possible for everybody to get rid of body consciousness fully and to become totally soul consciousness. So there will be rank, just like uh, the school students have their own rank in their studies. So this is also a study. So those who manage to get the first 8 rank, they will become they'll take the highest position, and those who come in the 108 the first 108 ranks, they will be the emperor, and those who get 16,108 ranks, so they will all become kings, and all the rest uh, of those 33 um, crores of deities, they will become the ordinary people. So there will be rich people, there will be poor people, everybody will be there in heaven. Only difference between hell and heaven is they won't experience pain, that's it, but still there will be poor and there will be rich people. So only those who become fully soul conscious, only they can enjoy the maximum pleasure, only they can enjoy the power of being the king. So that is why in Hindu temples, in the center of in the center there will always be a beautiful fully dressed goddess who is decorated with costly jewels, and in their sides in the corner of those temple, you will find half dressed or glamorously dressed male or female idols which represent those who failed in the final test, that is the final judgment day. So when all these Maya or Saturn, which comprises of these 5 evils like lust, anger, attachment, jealousy and ego, when all these 5 evils reaches its peak, and if one is able to be very steady in his soul consciousness, they will be getting the higher position. If they fail that final test, then they become body consciousness. It is because of their inability to get rid of body consciousness they fail the test, and that is how they become ordinary people or poor people, and they were shown as half clothed or glamorously dressed deities in their sights. So it doesn't represent any sex, or it doesn't teach sex actually, but since we are in hell, since our brain is so much corrupted with lustful thoughts, we tend to misinterpret the Hindu temples as something that teaches us sex. But God doesn't come to teach us sex, He comes to purify us from lustful thoughts. So that is the actual meaning of those half-clothed idols that is shown in almost all Hindi temples. Om Shanti.